Hello, one and all. Welcome back to another edition of the Average Guy's Guide to Life podcast. You know who I am. You know what this is. Yeah, bitch. I love you still. How's it been going? No, you haven't heard from me in a little while. Excuse me. Jesus, that's bad production quality right there. um, how you guys been doing? We're slowly reopening the country here. Our economy is going to be open very soon, it looks like. Looks like we have a couple of beta test states that are willing to fucking take the L for us, if it is indeed an L that they will take, and we will learn from their mistakes or their successes. I'm hoping they succeed so that we can all get back to fucking work and fucking living without having to file in a single line while we enter the fucking supermarket. You know, I went to the store today and someone told me that I had to get in line, to enter the store, even though I saw it. I clearly saw the line, uh, but he took it upon himself to tell me that I had to get in line. I don't know, maybe he never had that much power as a Walmart employee to tell someone what to do, you know, with his fucking highlighter yellow vest on. Bitch, go ahead. This is your opportunity. This is your chance to tell people where to be and where to go instead of it being the other way around for you. Congratulations. Sorry about that. Congratulations to that gentleman who has to organize the lines out front. Even though I got right in, like everyone was filing in line and we didn't have to wait. We just got right in the store. But it's still very weird. It's very weird to see caution tape around a Walmart. And there were a lot of people in there, more people than I would expect to see in such a vast public space, during this pandemic, and a lot more people without masks and without gloves than you would expect to see. So it was kind of alarming, but it was also, I don't know, it says something about our society. I'm not sure what it says, but it says something. It says something. Like, do we not give a fuck? Like, are we just the type of people that don't care who gets sick? Or are we only looking out for ourselves here? You know? Do we not take this seriously? Are we disobeying the government? It's a lot of things, you know? It's a lot of things. When you see people that just don't obey the orders in which they were given. Like, I went to the park slash beach this past weekend just to get outside. The weather was nice, get some steps in, chugging along. And me and my girl, we went there, and when we first arrived, there wasn't that many people. It was like little spitter spatter of people, here and there. So we're like, great, people are doing the social distancing thing. And about an hour or about 45 minutes into our walk, everyone started showing up. Like everyone. Like they've never been outside before. People with their families, like fucking 8-person families, started showing up to this park slash beach and and started invading everyone's privacy. There was this kid. We were sitting on a bench underneath a I don't know. We were sitting. I don't know what it's called. One of those things that fucking. I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. What are those things called? Gazebos. We were sitting in a gazebo, and we were just catching some shade before we continued our walk. We were about, halfway through, and then two families showed up out of nowhere. Two families, one family of 4 and one family of like 6 or 7 on the other side, And then one of the kids in the family decided that he would cross our path and laugh. I don't know what he was laughing at per se, but for me, it was like he was laughing at giving us the Rona. He was laughing at giving us the coof. Like he walked past our bench at our feet and he goes, what? Why did this kid do this? Like, God bless him. Little blonde hair, blue eyed white kid. Walked past us. He just goes, I don't know what was funny. I wish he would explain what was funny in that moment, you know, besides, him possibly having the antibodies and just breathing in our area trying to give us the coof. Fucker. Anyway, things are going to try and return to normal depending on how the southern states do. Speaking of southern, I'm rocking my Johnny Cash t-shirt here. I love me some fucking Johnny Cash. I am a black man. But does that mean I can't love the man in black? If you say yes, go fuck yourself. I love Johnny Cash. Anyway, that has nothing to do with my next statement. You really can't please women, can you? And this is going to alienate the women, but I'm not trying to. I'm really not. And when I say you really can't please them, I'm joking. I'm seriously joking. But my girl said something in regards to a Better Call Saul episode that I am going to hold against her for the rest of her fucking life, because it is all, not only is it hilarious, but it just shows the mind frame of a woman versus the mind frame of a man. And a lot of people, especially in this progressive society, this leftist society, I'm going to say, that we live in, a lot of people would say that masculine and feminine energies can exist within the same person, and that's true. But you have to understand that the same energies can exist in the same person, but one has to dominate the other. You know, if you're a woman and you have mostly feminine energy, that means you're a very feminine woman. You may have a little bit of masculine energy in you, and you may like a fucking beer and a steak, and you might like football a little bit, but you also like to fucking wear high heels and frilly dresses, you know? So this isn't meant to stereotype in any way, but biologically speaking, right? Men and women have two very different energies, and men think differently than women for the most part, right? And and this example that I'm going to give you is painting that perfectly, right? Perfectly painted by my girlfriend. And she is going to be very upset that I am featuring this on the podcast, but I don't give a shit. I don't care. She knows I don't care. I just say things, especially if they're funny. Especially if they're funny, I am especially going to say them because it's hilarious, and other people need to hear this, and other people need to understand what I said as a prelude to this is kind of a true statement. So if you're watching and you're upset that I'm about to bring this up, and you know exactly what I'm about to bring up right now, you know what it is. You know what it is. Just don't be mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger. You said it. You fucking said it. So if you've ever seen Better Call Saul, and if you haven't seen it yet, it is an excellent show. Those of us who are fans of Breaking Bad were in great anticipation of this show. It being a prequel of Breaking Bad was met with, kind of a little bit of skepticism. Excuse me. Is it going to be as good? Is the writing going to be as good? Will the characters be as good? because Breaking Bad was just so epic. It was just so once in a generation type of series. So meeting this Better Call Saul series, it 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 was met with skepticism, right? Now, if you've seen it, it's a fucking excellent show. It's a very good show, almost on the same level as Breaking Bad. Some people would say it's surpassed Breaking Bad on certain levels. I kind of agree with that, but it doesn't have a character as intriguing as Walter White to me. Now, Jimmy slash Saul is a very intriguing character, but is he as intriguing and as layered and as relatable as Walter White? I'm not quite there yet because Walter White, he broke bad, whereas Saul slash Jimmy has always seemed to have been bad and just needed an opportunity. Spoiler alert from this moment on. If you haven't seen the show, please go and watch it. It's an excellent show. Okay. But spoiler alert for one of the episodes. I don't remember which one. From this moment on, if you don't want to be spoiled, stop right now. All right. I give you warning. Warning made. That's it. Okay. So the episode that I'm talking about is the episode when Jimmy slash Saul was going through the desert after Mike saved him from the cartel gang that tried to kill him and take the money from him. Right now, this was the episode after the long episode where they were walking through the desert. I think the episode I'm referring to now is episode 9. So, episode 9 of the most recent season, the beginning of the episode shows Jimmy walking and roaming through the desert, and it's a split screen. There's a split screen from what Jimmy is doing over here and what Kim, his wife, is doing on the other side. Right? Now, Jimmy, he's fucking stranded in the desert. He has 2 heavy bags on his shoulders filled with money that he's lugging through the desert, that he has been lugging through the desert. He has no water, no food. It's hot because it's the fucking desert. Of course it's hot. And, and he has resulted to drinking his own piss, his own urine that comes out of his own dick. He pisses it in this jug, this bottle thing, and he drinks it. He drinks his own piss. Well, on the other split screen over here where Kim is getting ready for her lawyer job, dressing in a fancy little business dress thing, below the knee sort of shit. Looking in the mirror, putting the makeup on, and while Jimmy is fucking drinking the piss, they show her pouring a glass of water and drinking the water, just to show the contrast of the type of lives they were living at that moment. The show writers were very good for they were kind of smart in doing that, and the soundtrack that they used was perfect, and they used it previously as well. Now, while I am watching this with my women, I'm watching this with my women, unprompted, her first response, like her knee-jerk response to this situation, the split screen between Jimmy walking through the desert, lugging heavy bags of money, drinking his own piss, and Kim comfortably getting ready for work in her business dress, drinking a nice cold glass of water. Her unprompted knee-jerk response to this was, poor Kim. Poor Kim, she says. Poor Kim. And I looked at her and I'm like, what? What the fuck do you mean? Poor Kim? Poor Kim? She's like, yeah, she's just so worried. She's not herself, She doesn't know where Jimmy is. I'm like, but you as the viewer see where Jimmy is. Jimmy is in the desert drinking his own piss. Poor Jimmy. Poor fucking Saul. He has to drink this warm urine while his wife is she's worried. Yeah, she's going through some shit in her head and maybe her heart or whatever. But Jimmy is going through stuff in his body where he was just shot at. He was just shot at by cartel people who wanted to take the money from him. And as a result, his car broke down because it had a bullet hole in it. And as a result from that, he had to lug the money across the fucking Mexican desert and the New Mexican desert while he is drinking his own urine. Poor Kim. She must be so worried. The split screen put it perfectly. And this is what I say. This is what I mean when I say you can't please women, man. You can't fucking please them. You can't. You just can't. You know? You can walk through the fucking desert with $7 million in cash, drinking your own piss. And as soon as you get back, sunburn, lips fucking dry as hell, the skin peeling off of them motherfuckers. You barely can walk or move. You got bruises on your fucking chest and your back from carrying those bags. And in real life, if you were to do that, the first thing she would say when you walk through the door is, "Where have you been? I was so worried." And if and if you told her where you been, she would blame you for doing it. Like, this is what you get. This is what you get. I don't care how much you suffer. I don't even want to know what your fucking piss tastes like. What your own piss tastes like. I don't care. I don't care. This is what you deserve. This is what you deserve. Do you know how you made me feel when I thought you were dead? Do you know how you made me feel? Well, baby, I almost did die. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if you almost did die. You know how you made me feel when I thought you was dead, motherfucker. You little bitch. You little stupid ass bitch. You can't win, fellas. You can't fucking win. You just can't. And we have to be okay with that. You just have to. You know, if you want a woman in your life, you got to know. And I've learned this, you know, in my adult years. You have to understand that certain things just aren't worth pursuing. And you gotta fucking throw in the towel. You gotta throw that motherfucker in. You could twirl it around your head too if you want to, but you know, eventually the motherfucker gotta get thrown in. When it comes to certain things that you have a dispute about, you just gotta fucking throw that fucker in there and be like, you know what? This ain't worth all that. Or I see your perspective and you can have that perspective. I am going to lay down on this one. I am going to take the big fat L on this one because that when it comes to you know relationship disputes, some you just won't win. Some you just won't win, and you should not have been entered to in the first place. You know, your pride or your ego will take you there initially, but once you realize you're in a place that you're in a lose-lose situation, like if you continue to fucking beat down this scenario or beat down your perspective on something, that's only going to dig you deeper. You're only going to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the disagreement or into the argument or whatever stage you're in. So as an adult man, you got to know that some of that shit, you just got to throw the fuck out. You just got to be like, you know what? Why the fuck are we talking about the right way to fucking braise a turkey or some shit? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know? Some of that shit just don't matter. If it's not going to affect your relationship or your life immediately or in the future, just throw that shit out, fellas. Women too. Like I know women do that too. Women probably do it a lot more than men, because we do this thing called mansplaining apparently. So women apparently have to fucking throw out a lot of stuff just to get this guy to ramble on and eventually shut the fuck up. So, men, we have to do that too. We have to shut the fuck up. But if you're walking through a desert drinking your own piss, lugging, $7 million on your shoulders for 28 hours, then maybe you don't have to shut up when it comes to that. Maybe you have something you should say. You should say that. Poor Kim. There's my co-host. Hello. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear my co-host there? Today I am sip. Can I speak? Can I speak? Today I am sipping on a fine white claw. Hmm. Anyway, I wanted to leave you guys with something to think about as well, not just some silly fucking bullshit. Even though I love picking, I love picking. It brings me joy. Poor Kim. Um, I love doing that, but I also like thinking about things that are ridiculous and have a social impact, and just my thoughts on them, and just to see if other people have similar thoughts on these things. And the one that's a different horn. It's like my co-host changed their tone. Are you mad at me? Huh? I think it's mad at me. My co-host is the train, by the way. If you're not used to this podcast, um, I like thinking about social norms and the way that our society is changing and the way that we consume things because we live now and such a consumer culture. You know, everything is at our fingertips, and anything that you want to watch at any time, you can just fucking Google it. You can just type it in YouTube, and next thing you know, you're in your own personal little echo chamber of what you want to see. You're getting suggestions for things that you supposedly like in your search history, and they're selling your data to other people so that they can try and persuade you to do other things. One thing that I've noticed over this whole changing culture in society is something that it's called outrage culture, right? I think I'm not making this up. Outrage culture, where the internet, whether it be blogs you read, forums you read, whether you're on Reddit, whether you're on YouTube, whether you Google some shit, or the podcast you listen to, whatever it is, or the news. The news too does this as well, especially with the president, especially with the fucking president. What they do is they try and get you outraged because they know that is going to generate views. That's going to generate eyeballs looking at their content to get you outraged. And it's so fucking easy. And everyone is doing it. I don't have a percentage. I was almost going to throw a percentage on there, but I don't fucking know. But I know a large amount of content that's being created in the year 2020. It's outrage content. Fucking CNN is doing it. A global news network like CNN is doing it. Fox News is doing it. Everyone is fucking doing it, especially if you're on YouTube. It's like they want to get you outraged about the president. This motherfucker is a jackass. He's a dumbass. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He wants you to shoot fucking, Lysol into your veins. He wants you to fucking sniff some fucking Clorox, like and that's something you should be outraged about. But they've been trying to get you outraged about the president for 4 years, even when he hasn't done anything wrong per se. If he hasn't even been on television, like if the man hasn't said anything in a week, they will find something like, oh, he hasn't said anything in a week. What type of fucking president is this? What do you think, Deborah? Oh, he's a piece of shit. We should have never elected this motherfucker. Hillary would have been better. But if Hillary would have been elected, it would have been the same shit. It would have been an outrage culture around her too. Like, people just want to be outraged about some shit. And specifically, I want to talk about the boom of the YouTube outrage culture. You know, YouTubers, they made a whole fucking genre of being outraged about some shit. Just outrage upon outrage. Just some shit that you shouldn't even waste your energy on. Don't get me wrong. I get outraged too. I get outraged about shit that affects me personally and also things that I feel passionate about. So I understand that, and I definitely understand fandom. I understand fandom, I understand nerd culture, I understand all of that. And I understand that when you're on a platform like YouTube, you have to cater to the people that are subscribed to you and the people that are viewing you. Unfortunately, a lot of those motherfuckers only want outrage content. And when I get outraged about some shit that they're outraged about as well, it makes me look over my shoulder a little bit like, damn, I gotta check my allies here. You know, am I allied with people that are, genuinely outraged about something because it affected them and it affected their outlook on something, or it personally affected their mood or their optimism on something? Or am I allied with someone who's just making outrage content? Now, the timeline of this fucking outrage content, when I actually started noticing it, was the final season of Game of Thrones, right? The final season of Game of Thrones was shit. Everyone knows it's shit. Fans of Game of Thrones know it was shit. Non-fans of Game of Thrones knows it was shit. I burned through the entire series of Game of Thrones in maybe about a month, I would say, only because I wanted to know what the big hubbub was about. And in doing that, I accidentally became a fan of Game of Thrones because I wouldn't say I was a Game of Thrones hater. I was just not impressed by the number of people that were blindly following the show. You know, I'm kind of a contrarian. You know, anything that's popular, I'm gonna try and swim against for as long as I can. I still haven't seen fucking Avengers Endgame. Why? Because I'm a Thanos guy. I like fucking Thanos. Go ahead. Go ahead. Just fuck you. Just shove it up your ass. Shove it up your ass. I'm a Thanos guy. I already know how the story ends. Thanos loses. I get it. I get it. Of course it was going to end with Thanos losing. But I wanted to see him win. Why? Partially because I'm a contrarian. Now, I skipped Game of Thrones throughout its boom and its heyday because I'm partially a contrarian. But also, I was into other things, and I just didn't, I from the description that I was given, I just thought it was a made for adult audience version of The Lord of the Rings. Now, when I watched it, of course, that wasn't it. But the last season was dog shit. It was fucking dog shit. And not the type of dog shit that you pick up in a pretty little plastic bag and, fold up and throw in the fucking doggy bin. It's dog shit that's been sitting there like it's become one with the sidewalk, you know? It's that type of dog shit. And I understand that that was going to birth content. I get it. A lot of people were frustrated, especially in fandom and in nerd culture. A lot of people were frustrated and wanted better things. Um, and when it didn't deliver, a lot of people were angry and disappointed, especially those, unlike me, who binged it in a month. Those who actually watched it throughout the years were especially frustrated and irritated with the direction that the show was taking. I get that. I get it. But the number of outrage videos that were birthed from that is astounding. It's like everyone had something to say about Game of Thrones just pooping up some dog shit and dropping the ball. Everyone had something to say. And it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, I used it as humor. Like it was funny for me. And maybe it was soothing and affirming for other people. Like, yeah, you know what? It is dog shit, you know? So I got it. And maybe it should have stayed where it was with just Game of Thrones. But the outrage culture has become a monster of sorts because as much as I've been paying attention to it, which admittedly isn't that long, but um, I've been paying attention to it deeply. But for me, my timeline, it starts with Game of Thrones and then it continues and it continues now because now those channels see on YouTube specifically. Now those channels see that there are views and there is potential advertising revenue when it comes to outrage videos. I'll just be mad about some shit. How about that? And then I'll comfort everyone else who's just mad about some shit. Whether it be Captain Marvel, whether it be Doctor Who, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be Watchmen, or the new Oceans movie, the Ghostbuster disaster, the fucking Charlie's Angels piece of shit. They just want to be outraged about some shit. And I watch it for comedy reasons, and I like to see how far they'll take it, but it doesn't look like it's gonna stop, honestly. And I have to stop and look at my allies right now and be like, why are you so mad? Why are you so mad? Hmm? Now, a lot of it is due to this get woke, go broke narrative recently. Not when it comes to Game of Thrones. Maybe when it came to Game of Thrones. I don't know. But the get woke, go broke narrative, part of that I agree with because their messages in their movie or television show is just so fucking heavy-handed. They don't focus enough on actually producing a good product that people want to see. Watchmen, for example, love the fucking graphic novel, love the fucking movie. The TV show was dog shit. So for that, I understand. That was a very heavy-handed attempt at getting a message out there. But others, I don't really see the logic in. I just see it as people being outraged for the sake of being outraged. You know? And I'm not saying that getting woke in media and in fucking film and television is a good thing. I think it's horrible. I think people should focus on making good television, making good movies, without your specific political message. Just focus on making a good movie. And if you have a message in there, people will see it. They will see it and they will resonate with it organically, like the Joker. The Joker had a very, very defined message, and people see it different ways. People have different interpretations of what that message is, but there is a message. There is a message in that movie. They weren't heavy-handed with it though, and the movie fucking succeeded. There's tons of examples of that. Tons of examples. I'm a huge movie buff. I can give you at least 20 or 30 if I wasn't like trying to finish this initial point. Maybe on the next episode I'll give you guys some movies that don't have heavy-handed ulterior motives when they're trying to make a point on some shit. But seriously, it's kind of crazy that people can produce content off of just being upset about some shit. Your favorite YouTuber probably does it. Your favorite news channel definitely does it. I'm probably gonna do it in the future if I haven't done it already. I'm outraged about real life shit though. Like I'm outraged about poor Kim. Poor Kim outrages me. Like what the fuck? This man is drinking his pee. He's drinking pee that came out of his body. It's warm. He's in the desert. Poor Kim. in her fine pressed business suit, drinking this cool glass of water. I'm I'm outraged about real life stuff. I am outraged about fandom stuff and media as well. But I guess I just gotta check my fucking allies. I gotta check my allies and make sure that they're upset about the direction of the show and the message that comes along with the show, uh, that the show declined or the movie declined, and that they're getting too woke and they're making the message stronger than what the movie should be. They're making the message more important than creating a good product. So I want to look at my allies and ask them that versus, are you just upset to be upset? Are you just pandering to those that wish to be outraged? You know? And another subgenre of that, I don't want to say subgenre. The outrage culture is a subgenre of the original genre, which is YouTubers critiquing YouTubers. Like YouTubers reacting to YouTube birthed the outrage culture where they're just reacting to something that they don't agree with. I don't know, man. I don't know. I still have my own independent thoughts about these intellectual properties, such as Captain Marvel. I didn't see it. I don't agree with how they entered her into the MCU. I don't agree with her OP. Um, I don't agree with her character. And the original Captain Marvel was black, and the original Captain Marvel wasn't the strongest person in the MCU. So I don't agree with those points. Not the fact that she's a woman. I don't agree with the fact that they made her character something that it wasn't, and they also introduced it in an area of the Marvel Cinematic Universe where I didn't even think that the character was necessary. It wasn't needed. And according to the people that actually watched Avengers Endgame, she wasn't needed. She was in that part of the movie and that part of the movie. So I don't know. It was just dumb to me. It was just very dumb. Uh, but the Doctor Who fans, it seems like they're just upset that the Doctor is a lady. Now, granted, I haven't watched any of it. I have read and watched a lot of reviews of Doctor Who, and I know that they kind of shat. They took a nice, warm, wet shat on the narrative, and they kind of ruined the origin of the show, which is probably devastating to long-term fans of the show because it's been out for, I believe, at least 4 or 5 decades. This show has existed, so it kind of sucks that they did that. But a lot of the outrage videos that's out there is just mad because she's a woman. Come on, people. Come on now. She can be a woman, but also stay true to your source material. You got to do that, show creators, show runners, show writers. What the fuck are you doing? Damn, where do I stand? Damn, my fucking allies. Are my allies incels? Or are they logical people? I don't know. I got to think about this one. Anyway, that's all for me today. That's all I got for you. I love you guys. I hope you're staying strong through your quarantine. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, post all that shit. Make love, make sweet, sweet love. Poor Kim. Poor Kim. Bye.